and overheard Mel Robbins talking about her newly released book titled The Let Them Theory. She said, "The message with the Let Them Theory is that no matter what's going on outside of you, the power is always inside of you." She went on to say, "The two words, let them, are the key to helping you see what's in your control and what's not in your control." Let's take a brief second to acknowledge what we can control. You. We can't control others. We can't control their actions, beliefs, responses, or lack of. I encourage you to center yourself on things you can control and watch the gift of peace overtake you. I am Ayanna Blake, reminding you to mind your mind. For more inspiration, connect with me on social media or visit ayannablake.com. Until next time, take care of your mind and keep moving forward on your pathway to wellness. And remember, let them.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, this is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
That's right. It is time for What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington right here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Bachman in studio with your host, Chancellor Brewington. Chance, how's it going today? What's brewing today?
Man, it's going fantastic. It is going great. It is wonderful, full of energy, full of life. I hope everyone out there is having a blessed day. And if it's not blessed so far, man, go ahead and bless yourself. I hope everyone got the opportunity to watch a fantastic game last night. Or some people thought it was good. Some people thought it was, was all right. Obviously, Ohio State's wins 34-23 against Notre Dame. And there's so much to talk about in this game because earlier on the show or on the locker room this past year, we were talking about Ryan Day and, the ups and downs of the regular season and what's in store for him and the expectations, before this year, what they were. And, certain people were calling for his job. Certain people were saying, Ryan Day, this, if he loses to Michigan, he's out, and he lost to Michigan. And so the question was, how far does he go in the playoff? If he goes, if it's a first round exit, he's out of there. If it's, a second round exit, is he still out of there? If he gets to the championship and loses, is he still out of there? He goes and wins it. Of course, Marcus Freeman, the job that he did with that Notre Dame team is phenomenal. Them bouncing back after that loss to Northern Illinois, being able to put on a good performance, strong performance, throughout the whole year, beating Georgia and going through and getting to the championship with a new quarterback, and that's never easy. You get Riley Leonard from the transfer portal. And then also, man, just Ohio State, Will Howard played great. 4 incompletions last night, QBR of 99, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What did you think about last night's game, Bach? Was there, obviously it wasn't these nail biters we've seen in the past, but did you enjoy the game? And of course, did you like the outcome of Ohio State winning?
Yeah, it's big for the Big Ten, obviously, to win 2 in a row now with Michigan and Ohio State. And those are, original Big Ten teams. So it's not getting a little help from the Pac-12 over there. So that's good. It is interesting. The Ryan Day part of it is going to continue to be something that's going to be interesting. Again, if you remember, Nebraska was beating Ohio State at Ohio Stadium. There were fans chanting for Ryan Day to be fired at that time. So it's quite crazy. And he has a 70-10 winning percent, 70-10 record at Ohio State so far. But just a few of those losses coming to Michigan. And that's what's bothering a lot of those folks. But it's understandable. This was the best team on paper coming into the season. Didn't play like it throughout the season at times, but was able to turn it on at the right time and get the win. I certainly enjoyed the game. Ohio State, Notre Dame. If you're a fan of college football history, those are 2 blue blood programs. I would love if every college football championship game kind of rotated between those type of schools, because It just gets me pretty excited for the historical element of it. For what it's worth, again, Notre Dame gets their 9th title, so it's just one of those games where you start counting, okay, this is historically matters as well. as far as like the gameplay and how it kind of evolved throughout the game, you could tell. I mean, Ohio State jumped to a 21-7 lead fairly quickly, and when I say quickly, I mean as far as watching the game, because Notre Dame ate up 10 minutes of the first quarter right away with their first drive. But it was interesting because it was a drive that was unsustainable throughout the game. They weren't going to be able to run their quarterback as much as they did on that first drive, and so once Ohio State kind of took that big lead, that's Ohio State's built to come from behind. They could score 21 in a hurry. Notre Dame's not built that way. So again, credit to Notre Dame for fighting and getting back into that game. I will say an interesting decision, down 2 possessions, to kick a field goal with about 8 and 10 minutes left, whatever it was. They missed the field goal anyway, but it would have taken it down to a 13-point game instead of a 16-point game. You're playing for the national title. I would have probably just went for it at that point in time. I don't see how the field goal helps you. Even if you fail to get it, right, Ohio State gets the ball at the 8 or whatever, and maybe you still get 2 more possessions out of it. So a little bit of a critique there, but ultimately, I think the best team, at least in the last month or so, won the playoffs.
Yeah, and when you talk about the model, this new model. I mean, if you go back to the old 4-team model, these 2 teams would have played. So it's always, I would say, for especially the college football committee and college football playoff committee and, the people who set those things up, it's probably we did something, and beneficial. And when I look back at the last 10 years of national championship games, obviously you got the Alabama Clemsons, the Bama Georgias, the LSU had that run in 2019, 2020. You got Bama Ohio State a couple times, TCU Georgia, Washington, Michigan. I would say, this is the best one we've seen probably in 4 years. I mean, when you look at 2022, Bama, Georgia kind of beat the brakes off Bama there. And then that TCU Georgia one, I mean, that one really wasn't fun to watch, right? TCU, right. I mean, you got there. I mean, what was his name? Sam Duggan? Was that? Yeah. Like Max Duggan. He got there, Quinn Williams, and had that senior studded squad with TCU, but Georgia just overpowered them. And then you had last year the Washington-Michigan game, and Michigan was just such a better team than Washington. And I would say this year it wasn't too dominating, right? I mean, Ohio State was the better team, I would say. I would say Notre Dame, had some strong points throughout the game, offensively and defensively. But for real, I mean, I think Ohio State showed they were the better team and capitalized. I mean, talent-wise, you talk about Will Howard, talk about Jeremiah Smith, true freshman. I mean, the potential that he has, sustaining the Ohio State wide receiver with Chris Olave, with Jackson Smith, Ejigbo, and what's his face,
Marvin
Harrison Jr. And you can really just keep going. Curtis Samuel. I mean, the last I would say 6 or 7 years, Michael Thomas. Like the last 6 or 7 years, they've put out receiver after receiver. And so to see him carry that tradition, which, I mean, that's awesome. And of course, his NFL ties, his cousin being Geno Smith and stuff like that. It's interesting. And we talked earlier about Will Howard being of number 5, according to, sources on Twitter and pre-draft stuff, being a number 5 quarterback on the top 10 list, and him being right behind Jalen Milroe, him being behind Quinn Ewers, him being behind Jackson Dart, and obviously Shador and Cam Ward. Now this game does something for him. It does. I mean, this could possibly bump him up above Quinn Ewers, above Jalen Milroe, and maybe even above Jackson Dart. People could even take him in some situations before Shador or before Cam. Like it's all preference, of course, but I think this did great things for his draft stock, did great things for all those Ohio State players coming out of the draft. Obviously, we got Sawyer and number 44. Those 2 DNs are going to do great things in the league. Do you think how much do you think this game did for Will Howard?
I mean, I think it helps, and I think it just kind of backs up the fact that he's a winner. I mean, he won. It's interesting because he's as always a college football champion. ship has to somehow divert into a way to make Nebraska feel bad about themselves. He was in the same quarterback room, of course, with Adrian Martinez and helped win that Big 12 title at Kansas State.
Oh yeah.
Tough to win a national championship at Kansas State, but to win a conference title was really great there. And then at some point being brought over to Ohio State to win the national championship, and you see his numbers move accordingly, as you would expect with all that talent that they have there. I don't know. I mean, I think he doesn't have skills that, top end skills, either running or passing. I mean, he's got a good arm, got a lot of good weapons out there. So I still would hesitate to take him too early, but I mean, I think it kind of helps as far as, you start to think of like a top backup in the NFL, or even a guy that you never know with these guys. Like if you're going to give him a shot, you take him with the first round pick, or second round pick. But then there's some teams that's like, all right, we're going to try to give this guy an opportunity, but we're going to draft somebody in the third or fourth round. And if that goes awry, then we'll give these guys a shot. And I think that's probably where he's going to ultimately fall.
Yeah. And you kind of talked about the Ryan Day situation a little bit. I mean, when you think about that, college football is so strange. You just never know what's going to happen. Ohio State fans are probably like, dang, probably like, dang, like that's it. That's probably their reaction. Because, you're wanting to get back to that. I mean, midway through the year, you're wanting to get back to that pinnacle of where you were and where you think you should be. And you think, I think we're kind of in that day and age and in that culture where you think that firing someone will get you there. Right. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you just have to stick it out. And sometimes you have to rely on the pieces that you have and say, okay, what we have in this building, or what we have as a coach, or what we have as a, staff, or, quarterback, whatever the piece is, like, we brought him here for a reason. When we brought him here, we were excited. We thought he could do it, right? And maybe some external circumstance, we lose a game against Michigan, or we lose a game against whoever it is. And that maybe alters, the way you think about him. But Ryan Day, for him to get this, I think it will shed light a little bit more on just coaching situations throughout the league, throughout the college football just college football in general, and just saying, okay, maybe we don't have to jump shift on coaches, especially from prestigious programs, when they don't win the big game. When Penn State doesn't beat Ohio State that year, or Michigan doesn't beat Ohio State, or Ohio State doesn't beat Michigan. Those type of rivalry games, especially the games where you come in and as a coach, they obviously want you to have a winning season, but to be honest, you just have to win that game, right? And the people within the organization and the fans and the city and the state will be happy with you, right? And so when I look at this game, I'm really happy for him, because I don't want to see anyone's job get lost, anyone get fired. But I will say that I hope this sheds light on just like being able to stick it out with a coach, and bringing it back to Nebraska situation. Matt Rule, year 2, going to year 3, being able to just say, okay, when we brought him in, we were super enthusiastic about, the things that he did other places. And we really were harping on the theory that he's going to figure it out eventually. It's the eventually formula. It's not now. It's eventually he's going to figure it out. And so you take into all the pieces into consideration. You're taking, okay, it's no excuse, of course, but these aren't his players. He's recruiting new guys. You look at the roster now. I mean, now it's like a 70-30, or probably like a 80-20 split of like guys he brought in and got old guys, right? So, I mean, it's mostly his guys right now. And so now when you look at it now, I think this can give, if anything, this can give Nebraska fans some hope, and just say, okay, Ryan Day, of course, Ohio State and Nebraska aren't on the same level, but the same principle resides in both situations, where you just have to trust the coach to be himself, and really just to allow him to win. Because I think as a fan base, sometimes, especially Nebraska, sometimes it can suffocate a coach, right? And it can be tough, of course, and and that's a whole nother conversation. But I think just allowing a space of like, okay, this coach came here to win, and he's following a formula. And if you look at the numbers, he's kind of on par right now, right? He's kind of on par, almost a losing season or a losing season. You go kind of even, and then you turn it up on year 3. So, yeah, I hope this boosts people's confidence. And, I wouldn't say talent wise, Ohio State is a landslide difference from Nebraska. I would say that there's some places, of course, where Ohio State is vastly better, in skill wise and recruiting and development in some positions specifically, and maybe in some coaching scenarios. But if Nebraska could keep taking jumps, I mean, it's not too far off the path. It's not too far down the road, being in these type of conversations where, the 12-team playoff and Nebraska is one of those names. I don't think it's too far off the road, if we just keep trusting in the system and building it day by day.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It feels like a long ways away, right? I mean, just because there's so many hurdles to get over on your way to compete with these guys. But then again, you go back to it and you could say Ohio State played bad or they weren't playing their best, whatever. There's been years where Nebraska's played not even the eventual national champion, but Ohio State or other teams, and it can happen. It just didn't happen that day, right? Nebraska lost 56-7 to Indiana, who's a playoff team. By that measure, that kind of goes back to what I was just saying, where they've played Ohio State and lost similar games like that in the past, 62-3 or whatever it might be. But because the team that won the national championship, ultimately, you did have a lead on in the fourth quarter. You can feel like, okay, we're not so far away that, and having a winning season and making those small steps is going to help too. But I think that's something that they can lean on. And this was far from a complete Nebraska. Right? There's a lot of holes there, and they were still able to compete with, not just Ohio State. Might sound silly to kind of say this, because I know how people kind of ended up looking at this, but there was other couple of teams that they played against that ended up ranked. As far as Illinois it goes, Colorado, both those teams ended up ranked. Obviously lost to Illinois, but field goal kick away from winning that one. Colorado, you did win. So, they were competitive in 3 out of their 4 games against teams that finished the top 25 this year.
Yeah, definitely not the Indiana game.
Not that one.
Not that one. But I mean, we could get them back next year. We can get them back. I mean, when you talk about flipping rosters and changing as a team dramatically, I mean, there's no better time than in this transfer portal era. So the impossible is still on the table. I mean, it's really not impossible. It's just executing at the end of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, this is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. We'll be back with more on 93.7 The Ticket.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a 1-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys, you'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
We are glad to be back with you here on a Tuesday afternoon. Even more happy that we can do it as Big Ten champions. Champions again. No, I don't know how much it helps Nebraska, but at least the Big Ten has won 2 titles. Did you ever get too much into conference cheering? Is that something that would be, I mean, does it feel better that Nebraska was playing with Ohio State and Ohio State into winning championship?
To be honest, so when Michigan was playing 2021, I believe, after we played them tight, I I really wanted them to lose every game. I mean, I remember I was back home, of course, and people were like, you think Michigan's good? That was when Aiden Hutchinson was on the team, and
Oh, yeah.
McCorm kind of just popped on the scene. It was kind of him and Edwards, and they had another back too. But I was always like, I want Michigan to lose. I want all the Big Ten teams to lose. Like I have respect, of course, whatever that is. In the football world, but
yeah,
you respect the players, of course, but the program. I mean, I want every Big Ten team to lose. Like that's like. I don't know. Maybe that's just like the opponent thing. Like I never really saw opponents as like Iowa and like, Oklahoma and Wisconsin and all that good stuff. Like I just saw them as the other team. Like they're the bad guys. Like,
yeah.
Like we don't like the bad guys. Like regardless of if we not playing them or we is playing them. Like it's always whatever. Now I'll say this. Whoever's playing Iowa, I want them to win. So it could be Ohio State playing Iowa. I want Ohio State to win because I don't like Iowa the most, right?
Yeah, you separated them from the group a little bit.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that. But we were just about to talk about this 2025 Heisman odds. There's a name that I thought maybe would be thrown in there, maybe, and I'm sure people would be up in arms if this name was thrown in there. But let's go through them real quick. Garrett, you're gonna have to help me out with these names, but
all right.
Arch Manning, I got that one.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik,
yeah.
Klubnik, there we go. Drew Aller, I like that one.
Okay.
Nico
Iamaleava. I probably didn't even get that one right, but
yeah. And he's an interesting one. So at Tennessee this past year, I had some good moments. I believe I want to say it was Bama game where he went and beat Bama. Had some really, really good moments, and then had some really young moments where it was like, okay, I see he still has a ways to go. After of course, the job being handed over to him, he's been there for a couple years, and you think sometimes you're like, okay, he's ready now. And I think this year was that like that nice acclimation period to college football and saying like, okay, like, maybe, forcing balls here and there, understanding, the windows, understanding the space, understanding, how to use certain guys. There was, midway through the year, the deep ball for Tennessee, just like they've completed like 2-3 deep balls in like 3 games. Right. So there was a real struggle there. And then next on the list is Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver. We saw him last night. That's plus 1,700 on the Heisman odds. And he's a guy where, we talked about it. Wide receiver, Ohio State. He could mess around and break Marvin Harrison's records. I don't know where they find these guys at, but it's like almost copy and paste. And I would love to see whoever comes in, and the name is coming up in a couple names, but that quarterback who comes in Ohio State, he's going to have some guys to be able to throw to, has some young running backs, has some young other receivers that are ready to get in the mix too. Next is Carson Beck. And this is, that you have to put him on here. I think you have to. I think it's only right. And and then you got Julian Sayin. I hope I'm saying that right. Sayin, no pun intended. And then you got Dante Moore, Oregon. That's an interesting one right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's interesting. And then you got Lenore Sellers, and he's a stud out of South Carolina. South Carolina this past year had a rough start. Played Bama real close, and you're like, oh, this South Carolina team has some juice. This quarterback, had a young moment at the end of that game, and then bounced back. Went on a really good run to end the year, and they ended up, finishing as a ranked team. I would really compare their season a lot like what Nebraska's could have been. Like they played a lot of teams tight, and they pulled away at the last second in some of them, and didn't in some cases, but they figured it out when it got rough, right? When we went in, Purdue game, when, we go and scored 0 points in the first half and then score 21 in the, 3 minute or 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, we figured it out. We didn't really figure it out after that game. It was like, we just kind of went downhill. And South Carolina had a moment where, they're playing Bama tight, they lose one, and then all of a sudden they figure it out. And Lenore Sellers turns it on, and his game really skyrocketed just the whole team. And a name I thought maybe was going to be on here was Raiola. And maybe it's, a little bit of bias, but when you look at the numbers, okay, the low midway through the year, yeah, that's good, of course, whatever you want to say about that. But when you look at potential, look at the Dane Key, Nazia Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney coming back, adding some pieces, to the O-line, Pritchett, okay. Now, Emmett Johnson coming back. You're building some pieces around him, and maybe some more in the offseason, and maybe this conversation shifts a little bit more once we see, you know how it is, Bach. The videos come out, and we see something in spring ball, and he throws a crossbody 70-yard throw or something crazy, right? And, it goes viral, and they compare him to Mahomes, and all of a sudden he's in his Heisman odds go up 200, 2,000, plus or whatever, right? And so those type of things happen, of course, but I think Raiola is a guy where he could sneak into some conversations, obviously based on how this team is doing. But I think the team performs based on how Raiola performs. I don't see in any scenario this upcoming year where Raiola plays bad in Nebraska or Raiola plays good and Nebraska loses. It doesn't happen. I don't care how good the defense. I don't care, how bad the defense is. You lose a lot of pieces of people saying that is the defense going to be the same. In my opinion, it doesn't even matter how good the defense is. If Raiola plays good, they win. If he plays average, they're going to be average. If he plays average, the defense will have to play good for it to counterbalance. Now, if he plays bad, I don't see a way the defense could be as good as possible, right? We saw that with 2023 with Sims and Harburg and Chuba Purdy, like that, up and down quarterback play, but defense was playing top 10 in the nation. So what happened? Really bad quarterback play, really good defensive play, turned out to be a below average team, right? So imagine if you had let's say a top 30 defense, but a really good quarterback. You're probably winning 9 games.
Yeah.
Right. And so I got this lesson when I first got to Nebraska, and I was just trying to understand the Big Ten a little bit more and, just how it's different, right? Came from FCS, came from smaller school. There's just a way bigger schools operate inside of just the structure of college football. And the one thing I learned was it's all about quarterback play. It trumps all. It trumps good defense. It trumps battle line. It trumps, it can make receivers look like they're amazing. It can make coaches look like they're amazing. It can get coaches head coaching jobs. It can get, offensive coordinators head coaching jobs. Like, it's all about quarterback play. And obviously there's different pieces that can help that out. A good O-line room, a good tight end, good running back, good ground game, good receivers getting open. But we talked about it. If a quarterback can play around that 90% clip, and 90% doesn't mean always incompletion. Will Howard goes 17 for 21. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just execution in general. If the play calls for a check down, you throw the check down. If the play calls for, for you to read the boundary safety, if he triggers, throw the bang 8. If he stays back, hand the ball off. You do that right, that's execution. So that's what I'm referring to there. But if Raiola does that this year and really learns the nuances of the game a little bit more, right? Because he was advanced already, know it a little bit more, or I would say through experience, you understand it more. He knows the game. You get him in front of a whiteboard, I guarantee he's going to be able to break down simulated pressure, all that good stuff, right? Field blitz, boundary, all that good stuff. But knowing, then understanding, that's through experience, right? And so if he can translate that experience and get something new out of it and perfect his craft from it and take that into spring ball, take that into fall camp and produce something on the field, I don't see no question why. I don't see no reason why he not going to be on that list, that Heisman watch.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I see these way too early top 25. Some of them have Nebraska 25th, 24th. Some of them don't have them. And I think that's just kind of the type of year you're going into for Nebraska. There's a lot of questions, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of it's going to be decided on how well Dylan Raiola can improve from year 1 to year 2. So obviously, with all those guys, a little bit of projection. So you'd assume they were doing the same thing when considering Dylan Raiola, and there might just be a few too many question marks still for those odds to put him up there. I think you're right. You said it earlier in the show. Halfway through the season, you would have done those way too early Heisman odds for 2025. I think it would have been there. It was just that regression. Nebraska obviously went on a slide, a big enough slide that they decided to go ahead and make some coaching changes as well. So, we know the potential's there. It's just about getting the most out of that potential now for this coaching staff and Dylan himself.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, potential's there. It's just finding a way to put the best things around him, right? Because at the end of the day, it's within him, right? It's nothing outside of him. It's within him. You just have to put around and put some pieces around him that are like-minded. I think the more like-minded people and players and even coaching and staff and everyone around him that thinks like him, right? Because he's the locomotive that's gonna make this thing push forward. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the coaching staff job right now, and they're doing a really good job of it. I mean, we look at the transfer grade that we gave them. I think we're gonna assess it after spring and see some more pieces and say, oh wow, we're moving in the right direction.
Well, it is the first day of class today for UNL, so it's kind of interesting. I know we want to talk a little bit about what the players are kind of thinking as the new year. 1 year ends, right, on a Monday, and then pretty quickly you think about the next year of college football. So we'll do that coming up next year on What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny and breezy. Cold this morning, but warming up to around 25 this afternoon. Tonight, a slight chance of snow, otherwise mainly cloudy and low near 21. And tomorrow, a chance of snow, otherwise mainly cloudy with the high near 37. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys, you'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Landmark Implement, your John Deere dealer, invites you to their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney on February 5th and 6th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers, covering topics such as machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and exact apply technology. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation, see and spray, and variable rate operation. Don't miss this opportunity, February 5th and 6th in Kearney. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
Ohio State wrapped up the 2024 season with a championship last night. Bring the trophy back to the Big Ten. Of course, it was already in the Big Ten with Michigan. But that wraps up the season. Now we move on to the 2025 season. Classes at UNL starting. And so I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts, Chancellor, and think of back in your day, which wasn't too long ago. What kind of the first day of school was like, and how quickly you start to get right into football.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting time because, especially bowl game, I didn't experience a bunch of that when I was at on the FCS level. We had playoffs, so we would go to the playoffs and stuff like that. So the time period is, guess what I'm trying to get at is, after Thanksgiving, usually in Nebraska history, you go home, right? And they stayed around until, after Christmas, right? So it's still fresh, right? So that win is still fresh. But I think the thing I said all season was, bowl game will put a Band-Aid on what's on the wound, right? And so when you look at what really happened last year, you're gonna have to face those problems. It's like we talk about life on here, right? And we can't run away from our problems. We can't run away from the pain points in our lives, because they're just going to get worse and worse and worse. And then eventually they're going to express themselves in some type of way that's, unfortunate and something we don't want to see. So the same thing is going to happen within the program and the football team. if you keep hiding the issue and don't focus on it and don't hit it head on, then the same thing is going to keep happening. And so I think during this time, during the weight room and during conditioning and during walkthrough and just the disciplinary things that Coach Rule does within his program, I think it's going to be keyed in on execution and keyed in on, finishing reps, finishing this, and that's, it's kind of the cliche thing when you're around programs and, in football environments, the finish mantra, you finish your rep, touch the line, do all this, but it does play dividends later. It does add some type of confidence, some type of self-image to the culture of a team, to the individual as well, to where when spring ball rolls around, there's just a different type of, there's a heightened sense of awareness of what I need to be doing. And obviously this is the time where grades kind of sometimes slack, and, because right after season, you kind of are, you only get a week and a half, 2 weeks off, right? And you're kind of like, let me, for some guys, at least, I wasn't really like this, but I saw it a lot. Like, let me chill out and, this is my time to whatever. Like, no, this is time to get better. We talked about the jump. There's a bunch of jumps going on for a lot of guys, and some in particular. I think of a guy like Van Poppel, how valuable this offseason is, not only to get his body right, but from a leadership standpoint. I mean, the guys in the weight room, there's a leader that emerges everywhere. I mean, in life, in sports, and jobs, and business, if you put a group of personalities together, one personality is going to say, I'm going to take charge and I'm going to lead, probably not in an arrogant way, maybe, and sometimes an arrogant way, of course. But I think within the first couple of days of football, you kind of see, first of all, where everybody's body's at. Okay, have you been working? Like, you kind of see it, it's not that much time off, so it's not as obvious. Have you been working throughout the offseason? If you haven't, you took a real time off. Okay, can you get back in shape? Is it how fast you get back? And another thing is like the freshman success of some guys, Ja'Cory Barney, the sophomore success, the first time playing for some guys. Can you say, yes, I congratulate myself, you did a good job, but now I have to grow. Now I have to get better. Now I have to do all these things. And I've seen it so many times where, guys have that year and then it's kind of just like, yeah, and maybe it's off the field thing, and it's, or it's a during the weight room, and, they take some reps off and stuff like that. So I think as a culture and as a team, as a staff, and, in the weight room and conditioning and all that good stuff in the classroom too, it's just going to be how attentive can we be, how diligent can we be in our preparation for a lift, because at the end of the day, we don't have an opponent to worry about. The only opponent is literally the dude in the mirror. That's who the opponent is. If you want to work on anything, and if you want to beat someone today, if you want to beat someone, it's the dude in the mirror. And that not only go for Nebraska football, that go for life. If you trying to, become a better version, trying to do this, and this, the person in the mirror is the one who you're really battling every day. And so I think if the guys can conquer that, and especially the young guys can get a hold of that early, and be influenced by leadership of older guys, leadership of team, leadership of staff, but mainly of the teammates and of the players. And when a team is driven by players and it's kind of guided by coaches, it's not driven by coaches, it's driven by players and guided by coaches. Oh man, you got a special team, and you can almost slide in. You're going to have a special year.
Well, there we have it. Hopefully a special year upcoming for Nebraska football. Once again, as we cap the final of this past season, 2024, now the move on to 2025 and getting better for Nebraska football. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it. We'll continue to talk about it all off season and going into next season as well. You've been listening to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington here on 93.7 The Ticket. Coming up next on the block with Eric Strickland and Austin Overman. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it comes to a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better